because one of the things that I promised myself that I will never ever have any regrets in my life. And most of the times, the regrets I have are the things that I didn't do, not the things that I did. Hey guys, welcome back to Small Talk, small conversations with huge impact. My name is Alec, and I'm your host for this show. And before anything else, I want to welcome you to this episode. If this is your first time listening, then welcome to this episode. I hope that you learned something from the day. And if you enjoyed this episode, if you learned something from this episode, then make sure you check the other episodes, because those episodes have a lot of tools and techniques where you can become a better version of yourself. And if you've already listened to the other episodes and you are an avid listener of the podcast, then welcome back. I hope that you enjoy your stay, and I want to say thank you for continuing to support the podcast, continuing to join me in this journey of self-improvement, and I want to thank you for becoming a part of this awesome community that is addicted to self-help, self-growth, and self-love. So again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And before we start, I just want to say that I did not expect that a lot of people will be pre-ordering the shirts. I've said it 1 week from now, and it's been really amazing, honestly, because I didn't expect to receive that much love from you guys. I didn't expect that I would get that many orders as early as right now, because I still have a lot of days for the pre-order, but I might have to cut it short because I've already received a lot of orders and I'm not sure if I can accommodate all of them. But yeah, if you've checked on the merch, if you've pre-ordered the merch, then I want to say thank you, and I really appreciate, how much this means to me, and I just want to say thank you so much. So, and if you haven't pre-ordered your merch, then go pre-order it right now at www.whereyourmindset.com. And if you message me right now, I'll give you a 50 pesos off discount. So please go do that. Go check the merch out. And yeah. Okay, so for today's episode, we are going to talk about why you should start before you're ready. I just finished a book, and this book is really inspiring. The title of the book is Shoe Dog. It's a very popular book. It's about the origins of Nike. How Phil Knight, it's like a memoir. It's like a memoir. I like the word memoir. It's like a memoir. It is the story of how Phil Knight created Nike. And it's really inspiring, from the very humble beginnings of Nike, of how they started off as a distributor of Onitsuka Tigers, and then how Nike all played out, and how it become one of the largest shoe manufacturing companies, top shoe company in the whole universe. And it really depicts this amazing story, and there are so many lessons to pick out from that book. And I might be just doing that for the succeeding weeks, because there's just so many lessons that I want to share with you guys. That honestly, that's the first book that I cried. That when I got to the last part, I cried. It's like a self-help book, but it's the first time that I cried, because it really connected with me, and it's really, really moving. It's really inspiring and motivating and all that stuff. So one of the lessons that I've learned there was, you need to start before you're ready. When Phil Knight was in college, Puma and Adidas, I don't know how it's pronounced, Adidas or Adidas. Do some people call it Adidas? I don't know. Anyway, Adidas, they were already a big company. They were solid companies that produces shoes for everyone, for athletes specifically. But Phil Knight had this crazy idea that everyone should also be wearing shoes, rubber shoes, not just athletes. And there was a need for better shoes for everyone. But he didn't like made this plan, like he didn't like get to the point where he had all of the plan laid out for him. He didn't have the perfect plan for him to create Nike. So what he did was he went there and he just did it. And one of the lessons that I've learned from that story, from that book, was you need to start before you're ready. And I was really moved by that. And it was really timing because, as I've created my merchandise, there were a lot of times that I was trying to plan out how I will create the business, how I will create the clothing brand that I've built. But that book helped me into pushing that, you know what? There are so many things to work upon, and I just need to start before I'm ready. And I just did it. And now and I've received a lot of guys, and I think it's working well because I started before I was ready. And today I want to give you guys 3 reasons why you should start ready. And let's start off with number 1. Number 1 is experience is not necessary. Experience is overrated. It's like when you need experience to start, especially if you're starting from scratch, starting from zero. And you tell to yourself, I need experience before I start. That's like saying that you need a government issued ID to get your first government issued ID. You realize how stupid that sounds? It's like applying for an entry-level job that requires 3 years of experience. How are you going to apply to a job to get experience if they require experience in the first place? But you just listen to that. It sounds so stupid. And similarly, that's what we tell to ourselves, that we need more experience to start whatever we want to start on, right? And this applies to every single area in our lives, whether it's about loving someone, whether you're ready to love someone, to settle down, whether you want to start your own business, whether you want to start your own blog, your vlog, your podcast, your content or your videos and any of that stuff. But you telling yourself that you need experience first before you start, you're just fooling yourself. Oftentimes, people that say those stuff are getting crippled by the fear of thinking that other people know more, and therefore I need to know more before I actually start. It's somewhat similar to the imposter syndrome, where you think that what you know is so little compared to the things that other people know. And that's a false reality, because in reality, the truth is what you know is the same with what other people know. Everyone is trying to figure out how this life works. And if we will think that we need enough experience to actually start, we won't actually start, because we need to gain experience. We can only gain experience if we actually start. And a lot of this stems back to the thought that we're not enough. Like we're not good enough yet. We're not that strong enough yet. We're not that blank enough yet. We're not that enough yet. So we need more experience. But the truth is, everything that you've experienced by far has given you enough tools for you to start whatever you think that you need to start on. And I know that a lot of people will think, na, but Alec, I need some expertise on this thing, right? Before I actually teach it. Because I see people that have achieved a lot of success. That's why they're teaching it. And I can see that a lot of people are better than me. So how am I enough to the point that I can be teaching them? One thing that I tell myself when I feel that way is that it's like you are on level 3 in life. It's like when you're saying you're level 20 in life. You're 20 years old, 21 years old, you're level 21, level 22, level 23. And of course, there are a lot of people that are at the higher levels of life. But if you try to put things into perspective, and that means that there are also a lot of people that are below your levels. And you may not teach the people who are at the higher levels. You have enough resources, you have the enough experience for you to teach the people who are at the lower levels. It's like you're at step 3 and you think that you need to reach step 7 before you could say that you are ready to start all of this shit before you need to start, right? You don't need to know everything about it. Because if you are at level 3, then that means that you can teach how to get from level 0 to level 1, from level 1 to level 2, and from level 2 to level 3. You have enough experience that you can share with other people so that they can learn as well. Experience is not necessary. You know what's necessary in starting? It's confidence. It's the confidence in yourself. It's the belief that you have in yourself. And confidence is the only thing that you need to start. Lakas lang ng loob, literal kapal ng muka. Yun ang kailangan mo para magsimula. It's not important if you don't have enough experience, but if you have enough confidence, then you are good enough to start. So stop looking at the metrics provided by the society, right? I want you to instill in yourself that confidence to start. Because honestly, for example, if I waited for me to have enough experiences for me to actually start on the things I think that would make me happy, then I wouldn't probably start. The podcast wouldn't be here. The podcast wouldn't have existed. Right? The way I started with the podcast is I told myself that my experiences were enough. That all I need is the confidence to create the podcast out of nowhere and just start. And that's the main reason why you guys are listening to something right now. It's because I didn't think that I need experience. I thought that I believed in myself. I just held on to the confidence that I had in myself. And that's what you need to do. You don't need experience. You need confidence. That's the first one. Experience is not necessary. Confidence is. So the second one is the second reason why you need to start before you are ready is because you need to fail fast. Because wisdom lies in the failures that you will encounter as you move forward. The wisdom that you need to get to the next level lies in the process. When you are in the process of where you want to be in. So you will not learn unless you actually start. And let me tell you something. Whether it's your business, your school, or whatever it is in your life, there are certain lessons that you can only understand, that you can only grasp and absorb once you go through it. And that's the thing we gotta remember. Everywhere in life, we will fail. I honestly, I love failure. I attract failure. I'm not going to label myself as a failure. I can never be a failure until I tell myself that I'm a failure. But I love failing. I really love failing. If when people tell me that I'm failing at something, I get glad. I get so happy. Why? Because when I fail, that means that I have a clear path for improvement. That the things that I need to work on are already indicated. Therefore, it's easier for me to figure out how I can be a better version of myself right now. And the thing is, there are so many things to learn as you move forward. And you can only do that when you start right now. When you don't start right now, you are just prolonging the agony. In one way or another, you're still going to experience that. You're still going to experience that shit. You're still going to experience struggles, heartbreaks, pain, failure. So as much as possible, we need to fail early, fail fast, and fail forward. Most of the things that we need to learn are along the journey. So we gotta stop getting paralyzed and crippled by this fear that we might fail. Of course you'll fail. It's not a matter of will you fail or not. Every successful person has probably minimum of 100 failures in their lives. And whether you're starting, whether you are an expert, you will still experience. And I'm telling you right now, if you wait out right now and say, I don't want to fail, so I'm just going to plan it out and make the things perfectly planned, you can never, ever really make a perfect plan because there are so many variables to consider. But it's easier for you to figure out which variables that you need to adjust on if you just start with it and learn as you go. That's one of the best things that I've learned from Nike, from the Shoe Dog as well, is that we need to learn as we go. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You need to have a flexible plan. Because one thing that I've learned is life is not a race, it's a marathon. And there will be a lot of obstacles and struggles that will come along our way. And if we do not act now, if we try to make everything straight as possible, life's not going to be that way. Life's going to hit us one way or another, showing us that life is not a straight line. There are a lot of ups and downs and zigzags along the way. And we can only learn that if we start right now and we find the failures right now. Because if we fail now, then we won't fail tomorrow. And we won't fail the next week. Then we won't fail the next month. Do you get that point? You need to start right now before you're ready. Because there are so many things to learn. That's the second point. You need to start before you're ready because you have a lot to learn. You need to learn as you go forward with your journey, with your process. That's the second one. Now, the third one is you need to start before you are ready. You need to start in general because you are going to die. It's kind of dark, but that's like the biggest truth that we need to be comfortable with. A lot of us are taking now for granted and we're saying, okay, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week. Because we think that our time, our future is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed except now. Except right now. You might die tomorrow. And that's the truth. A lot of people, some people die in their sleep. with COVID, that's like one of the things that you need to understand. You don't have so much time in this world. And when we get into this comfort zone where we think that tomorrow is guaranteed, then we'll take now for granted. And if we take now for granted, we'll regret it when we grow up. Because when we push things to the side and we're always saying, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next week, we'll do it next month, chances are we're never ever gonna do it because we think that there will always be tomorrow. But the truth is, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Right now is the only thing that we have. So we need to make sure that whatever we think that will make us ultimately happy, then we need to start right now. Because tomorrow is never promised. That's one thing that we should all absorb. I know it's kind of dark and it's kind of I know some of us are really uncomfortable talking about our deaths, but that's one truth that we need to accept on. That's one of my greatest motivators in my life. Whenever I feel like I don't want to do this, I keep on telling myself that one day I'm going to die. Time will pass. The people around me won't be here for so long. So as much as possible, I start whenever I can, and I just make sure that I spend every single second doing the things that I need to do that will make me happy. Because honestly, because one of the things that I promise myself that I will never ever have any regrets in my life. And most of the times, the regrets I have are the things that I didn't do, not the things that I did. If we understand that we regret the things that we don't do, not the things that we did, we can see that a lot of people on their deathbeds are saying that they wish they had just started. They wish that they had just done this thing before. Because they took their time for granted. They think that tomorrow is guaranteed. Life happens so fast. Like, bam. That's just how life goes. Magulat ka na lang. Ang laki na ng mga bata sa paligid mo. Tumatanda na yung mga magulang mo. Ikaw, ang laki-laki mo na. Because time flies so fast. We need to understand that our time here is limited. Please, if you're going to take one lesson from this episode, it's that our time here is limited. And if we think that we will always have tomorrow to start, then you're just wasting your time. If you think you're going to start tomorrow, then why not start today? So by tomorrow, you've already started. You've already jumped. You're already one step ahead of yourself. If you start right now. So stop waiting for the time that you will be perfectly ready for you to start. And just start right now. These are the 3 reasons why you should start right now. And one thing that I would like to leave you with is, please, I'm asking you to take that leap of faith. The happiness that you are so much craving for lies on the other side of fear. So I want you to take that leap of faith and just start before you're ready. Go out, start making, start creating, start experiencing, and start appreciating. Because you only get to live this life once. But if we live this life right, once is enough. So please, take that leap of faith and start now. Start before you're ready. And that is it for this episode. I hope that you learned something from today. And I'm, uh, I know I have this habit of apologizing at the end of the episode, but I'm really sorry if this episode is like so messy and all of that stuff, because I was trying to write this episode down and making some show notes, some bullet points. But you know what? I said I'll just start before I'm ready. Because if I'm not practicing what I preach, then what's the point of me doing all of this stuff, right? So before I was like making the script perfectly, before I was and now when I was trying to make the script perfect, I told myself, no, you know what? Get that mic, record right now, and start before you're ready. So this is the product of me starting before I'm ready. And I hope that you gain some amazing insights on this one. I hope that it connects with you, that you learn a thing or two. If you do, then go ahead and share this with the people that you love and the people that you know that needs to hear this as well. And if you have any more questions, if you have any comments, suggestions, or you just want to talk about this podcast, then leave me a message on @smalltalkpodcast, and I will be very happy to discuss it with you. I love reading your insights. I love reading your messages. I love everything that you send through my Instagram, through my TikTok, and through sharing all of the podcast on all your social media accounts. I really love seeing those stuff. So keep on sharing them. The podcast is growing day by day, week by week, because of you guys, because you are sharing the podcast on your social media account. So please go and continue to share this podcast, and do not forget to tag me @smalltalkpodcast on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok @smalltalkpodcast, and make sure that you pre-order the shirts, because again, there are just limited stocks available, and I want you to get the merch right now because you deserve it. You need to show off your mindset. So make sure that you check it out at www.wearyourmindset.com, and give me a message if you have any questions or anything. Okay, so again, I am your host, Alec Cuenca, and this is Small Talk, small conversations with huge impact. Have a great night. Have a great week ahead of you. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.